Welcome into the Keep Prowling podcast. I'm your host, DJ Beal, and we're back once again. The season, it's oh so close. It's oh so close. So I know, right? That's what I said. I mean,
that's my Panthers noise. Terrible.
You see, I'm gonna have to use that in the next intro.
Well, I'll do it a better one then. I'll work on it. I'll work on it
because I got it in the intro.
Right.
I kind of want to incorporate some guest stuff in there. So we have to put
let me work on a better version. I'll send it to you.
but I'm very excited to have Kelli Bartik from Bahakel Sports, who you've been around for a while. You've seen some things.
I'm an OG. I've definitely been around. Almost, it'll be 20 years in October.
Yeah, which is awesome, and
which means I'm old. That's what that means. Let's get real.
That's not what that means.
You said seasoned. Wisdom. I've seen a lot.
Seasoned.
I've forgotten a lot too. Let's tell you that. Old. It's okay.
You're seasoned. That's what it is.
It's all right.
You are
fine
seasoned.
wine. Like a fine wine.
Exactly.
It's better with age.
Better with age. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And
that's what I tell myself.
It's interesting because I've heard you have some of the best stories in probably Panthers history.
Who did you hear this from?
I've heard it from.
He has not heard that.
Plenty of people.
He
okay,
has not heard that.
Plenty of people. No, but I have heard. You've been there. You've done that. You've seen some things. So it's gonna be a fun conversation.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And if you don't want to come back next week, then the week after that we'll have you back.
We'll see. We'll see, DJ. We'll see.
But I'm very excited because the joint practice for the Panthers and the Jets is coming up because that preseason game, we all so close to the season. We got
it's game week,
kind of football, and then we got real football. Mm-hmm. But it's very exciting because I know you've been at training camp. You've had a lot of fun seeing the players. Mm-hmm. And what I love about you, Kelli, is you have this way of connecting with players. I think deeper than just the interviews and stuff like that. You have your social media posts. You have this connection. How do you build that connection with the players? Like, I just think it's awesome.
Thank you. I think probably just being here for so long. It's funny because I feel like I have to really work on being connected with some of the current players. Like, there's some of, they call them the old heads, like Shaq, Thompson, JJ, like the older guys that are here, the veterans. But all the new guys, it was different. Like, when COVID hit, we were out of the locker room for basically, I felt like 2 years pretty much. Mm-hmm. And so just kind of reconnecting with those guys. And it's all about relationships. I think when you're there, you talk to them, they know you're not going to burn them. They know you're not going to try to trick them. Because a lot of, that happens a lot. They try to, trick you into saying something they wish they didn't say. It just comes with age.
Yeah, and I think too, the media it's almost a slippery slope sometimes. I think for the players because they're painted in a way that's probably not necessarily them.
Sometimes,
yeah,
they can be definitely.
Yeah, and especially if they're kind of more of a boisterous player, they got a little more personality to them. We've seen a couple
like a Cam Newton.
Yeah,
I mean, he hated the media before he not hated us, but I mean, I could understand why he would have big walls up because that happened before he even got to Carolina.
Exactly, and that's kind of the pressures over the last couple episodes that I've kind of been talking about with Bryce Young. Could he be facing some of that pressure? You think possibly?
Pressure from the media?
Yeah, just pressure. Not only pressure from the media, just pressure to succeed like that.
Oh yeah. He's gonna have it comes with the price, right? Yeah. It comes with the team trading up to get the number one pick to take you overall. But I mean, he's handled the spotlight. He's handled the pressure, on the biggest stage in college, playing at Alabama, Heisman winner. And so far, so good. I mean, nothing really phases him. Mm-hmm. I'm like, come on, dude, are you really this nice? I want him to be open, and he's very open. He doesn't have those media walls up yet, and I hope it stays like that. I don't want him to get jaded. I don't think he will. I really don't. I think even, every week we're kind of seeing more Bryce the person instead of Bryce, the robotic quarterback that answers all the, we're going to do things, get better each and every day, what they all say. Yeah. So it's kind of fun to see his personality come through. I mean, we get to see maybe what his teammates get to see behind closed doors. I like seeing that part. I love seeing that part of any player.
And I think sometimes that's the fun part of being a part of the media as you get to know these players. You see these players more and more.
Right.
You kind of talk to them a little bit too. You kind of break it down more because I think to a lot of fans especially, they're like these larger-than-life personalities, and they should be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like there's a person behind that too, which I think sometimes we don't always get to see because we see them under the bright lights. We see them with the big helmets. We see them as these these billboard-like figures.
Right.
And, there's still genuine people underneath. And Bryce is one of those guys who, I was going to ask, what have you seen from training camp? And one thing that I saw when I was there was just kind of how humble he is.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to sign every autograph when he doesn't have time, right? He wants to thank the media for being there. The things that
who
a lot
does
of players
that?
don't do
I'm like,
that.
dude, that's our job. He stopped the reporter. He's like, wait, first of all, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out today. I know it's hot and humid. Yeah. We were all like, what?
Yep.
What? Say what? But yeah, he is really humble, and I love how Brian Burns summed it up during OTAs. He's like, he's humble, he's quiet, but he walks through the locker room knowing that he's the beep. You know what I mean? And he really does.
Yep. And that's
in a good
awesome.
way.
Yeah.
Confidence.
And that's what you need. You're the number 1 overall pick. You got to think that you're the guy. And I think there's a couple of guys who got picked after him that think that they're the guy too. And there's going to be, some fun matchups this season with C.J. Stroud and, and Anthony Richardson potentially, right? Like against Bryce Young going head to head. And that'll be a lot of fun too to see kind of those personalities come out. Because, I mean, it's funny because I've seen Bryce Young in this kind of humble personality, but I take a chance to look at the tape sometimes, and he's just like you can see that competitive athlete
that
come
fire.
out too.
Yeah. Like I can't wait to see more of that. Like when we really have the cameras up in his face in a huddle in the real game, I want to see him yelling. I want to see that fire. I want to see him get mad. He did throw the football down. I was like, oh my gosh, he threw the football. He was mad. It's like, hey, go Bryce, get it out, buddy.
Yeah, and I think I'm so excited just for this season.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're almost there with the joint practice coming up, with the Jets game coming up this weekend too. Like, we're so close to being there, right? But, like, I'm so excited because we've seen these new additions, most recently Deion Jones and Justin Houston, right? To add even more veteran leadership to that defense that was already pretty good last year.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest questions coming into camp is who's going to be that guy opposite Brian Burns on the other edge, on the other side. And Houston coming in, I mean, he's a veteran. They got him for a 1-year deal, $6 or $7 million. It's a lot of money, but he's a starter. And it's not going to like keep rolling over into the future salary cap. So I think it can be good. I mean, if he can come off and be anything like he was last year, he had 8.5 sacks maybe. Not sure about that number. Numbers kind of go in and out of my head.
Well, and he broke that 100 sack mark too.
Okay.
I think it was against Minshew or something. It was something because he was gonna trade jerseys with the person who he got the 100 sack for. He sacked
with the quarterback.
Yeah, and it happened to be it was like Minshew or something. It couldn't be I don't know, Brady or something. That was the funny part about it. But it was still, he's done a lot in the league. He's been very good. And I think for him, for Houston at least, it gives, like you said, another guy on the opposite side.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it adds to that veteran leadership. They're going to need some guys who can kind of be like, hey, we've been here, we've done that. Hey, stay calm. It's going things going to get a little rowdy every so often too. So there's a lot
veteran leadership, guys that have been there before. Even with Brian Burns, how good he is already. He's still learning, and he's like a sponge and wants to learn even more.
Absolutely.
So I think it'll be good. Back to that 100 sack thing you're talking about. This is way off topic, but I'm just gonna. It comes to my brain. I have to get it out. I remember Julius Peppers talking, when he came back to the Panthers the second time, he was talking about Joe Webb was on the team, and his 100 sack was on Joe Webb. And he said he didn't even know if he ever told Joe Webb that. That was number 100, but he was going to go find him in the locker room. I don't know why that just came to my mind.
That's
okay,
funny.
Back to the current team.
That's
Sorry.
Funny. But anything you come up with, throw it out there because you're going to have some stories that I think that people don't want to miss.
We go all over the place this brain.
They don't want to miss.
Careful what you wish for, DJ.
I'm glad I wished for it. Look, so Deion Jones, another veteran guy who plays inside linebacker. He's been an ex-Pro Bowler. Maybe some people might say he's fallen off or whatever, but I think put in the right place with the right people, he could be really good.
And he played for the Falcons. He knows the NFC South. I think it was funny, seeing the photos of him and Luke Kuechly talking to each other because, they didn't go against each other, but in the same time. So yeah, it'll be good. I mean, I don't think this is going to be a question anymore going forward.
Yeah, I think so too.
Some people are like, we need another pass rusher, another edge. I think they're good right now. I think they're good.
And I think as long as the secondary stays healthy too, that's been a concern. That's going to help too because the pass rush helps those guys.
Oh yeah, it starts up front, definitely.
It definitely does. But to the Jets Panthers joint practice.
Yeah.
Any expectations? I'm sure you'll be there for at least one of the days. So
I'll be there both days.
Any expectations that you have? That you're kind of.
I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. A lot of physical football. I feel like the Jets are they kind of play a different. That defense is a different Like, they're physical.
Yeah,
They're physical. They'll get after it. And I think it's going to be interesting. What I'm wondering is, because right now the Panthers wear, the quarterbacks, they don't wear red jerseys. They wear black jerseys at practice. They got to get the red jerseys out for these joint ones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way. Like, you don't want somebody's excuse being, oh, I hit the quarterback. I didn't, the blue looked like black. You know what I mean? They have to bring out the red jerseys. Because I feel like one of their guys accidentally stepped on Aaron Rodgers' foot recently in a practice. I heard that. I mean, you have to put red jerseys on. Like, there should be no excuse. But I feel like it's going to be fun, exciting. It's going to be, nice for these guys to go up against someone else. Not going up like this defense is going to press. I'm interested to see how the Panthers receivers are going to do with those corners, with that defense. I think we'll really get to see. I feel more in the practice than we will in the preseason game.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, the one thing about the preseason game, it's the first week. So you don't, most of the time, the guys who you kind of want to see play, right? Those are the people who, like, the day one starters, right? They don't necessarily play because the other guys are trying to find their spot, trying to find their groove.
Right.
Where could I possibly fit? Prove themselves a little bit too. So I think because of that, yes, we probably will see a little bit more in the practice.
More
than
action
we will.
in the practice.
Yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
We will see. Coach Reich said Bryce Young will play on Saturday. So, how long? It could be a quarter. It could be one series. Because good Lord, we don't want to get that kid hurt when he's out there. But I think it'll just be interesting. Yeah, preseason's definitely for those guys to try and. Not the starters, but it's good you got to get some game action before you go into the real thing.
Have you seen anything like that kind of piqued your interest in training camp at all? Any players in particular? Any things that were said?
One, just like some of the new guys, I'm just really like, oh, like who is this? I mean, day one, Kamu Grugier-Hill. I don't know if that's how you say his name, the linebacker, but he had the first interception of practice. I think he had another one later on that week or the next week. But just to hear Shaq Thompson talking about him, he's a dog. You got to get him out on the field. He is the dog's dog. And he is out there making plays anywhere you put him. Exactly. His story's interesting. He's from Hawaii. He played 1 year of high school football. And then he got a scholarship, I think, Eastern Illinois somewhere. I'm not sure. And then he was a 6th-round pick in the NFL and just kind of worked hard. Some people, maybe not have heard of him, special teams ace, but, I mean, he can play. He see ball, get ball, hit ball. Yeah.
Which I think is sometimes what you need. You need some of the best gems or those 6th-round, 7th-round picks where they're just scratching and clawing just to get that little bit of an opportunity so they can, get
that
on the field.
chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
And I'm excited to see him. And, I think I want to hear about you because you were telling me that it may get a little bit more physical for this joint practice because you see another team, right?
Right.
You're not playing against your own guys.
Spartanburg.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Day one. Frank Reich said no fights. He's like, I hate fights. The fights are stupid. He thinks maybe they would see fights on day 2, but as a way to kind of curb that possibility, day 2 is going to be a lighter day. So usually day 2 would be a heavier day, but with the game. That would be a Thursday. So the game's on Saturday. They're going to see each other in the preseason game. They're going to practice together and then split apart and practice as teams individually. So there might not be as much work together. So we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be some scuffles. Yeah. I mean, it's Spartanburg. You were there. It is hot.
Yeah, it was hot.
It is hot. And we're just sitting on the sideline, right? It is hot out there.
We're sitting on the sideline. It's hot. Yeah, exactly.
I told him, I was like, I got my neck fan. I got my face fan. I'm hot.
Yeah. And, I'm curious, have you seen any cool, joint practice moments?
I've seen a couple. I think it's so cool when you walk out there, how many people are on the field. Yeah. I mean, you saw it, just a regular NFL practice, that's a lot of people on the field. Yeah. Right? And then you have the fans. This is going to be double everything from the trainers to all the equipment to everything. It's kind of mind-blowing if you just think about it. And it always just runs like a well-oiled machine. And it blows my mind how the logistics of everything and how these football ops guys get it right every time, and it just runs smoothly. It's fun to see because you'll see maybe the linebackers group doing their drills, but there'll be the linebackers from both teams. So I remember the Ravens when the Ravens were here, just to see the other players like Calais Campbell. He was the nicest guy. I don't know if he's always like that, but he just came over and like introduced himself to the Charlotte media. I'm like, are you serious? That's this nice man.
Right.
Like he just big a smile and like he would just like, like kissing babies out there like with the fans. And I think that's the coolest thing, just to see the guys. And I love like the one-on-ones when it's the receivers against the DBs, because that's when it kind of gets like, and of course, like 7-on-7s and things like that are always just great. And that's usually where like the fights come, because it's usually like the line.
Exactly.
Yeah. You would think it'd be the DBs, wide receivers, but usually it's in the trenches, because those guys are like, physical.
You'd think it'd be like the talkative players, but it's the more like physical.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like even like Dante Jackson was out there when the pads came on. He's like, I ain't trying to get cracking yet, or whatever he said. It was funny. He's like, he's not trying to hit anybody, but like those linebackers are trying to hit somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so lastly, let's talk about the game a little bit.
Okay.
Right? Is it anybody you're expecting to blow you away? Is anybody you're like, I'm so excited to see what he's going to do, just because, we haven't seen real action from him yet?
I'm excited to see Bryce Young, right? I mean, everybody's like, he's too small. They're still saying that. Like, he's looked good in practice, and these are against large Panthers linemen defense, exactly. A regular NFL defense. Yeah. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see that him and DJ Chark. Is that connection going to be there? Maybe like in practice too, but in the game, I mean, I'm sure they'll get to play a little bit, but just to see if that's there. The look at this new defense with the 3-4, I don't know if they're going to show us a lot. Probably not. Yeah. Probably not.
And
I mean, I think it'll be
secret file.
Yeah. Just like nobody's telling us what role Jeremy Chen's going to play this season in this defense. I know Jeremy Chen has to hate that question, because every single time he talks to us, somebody asks it. He's like, I just tell him I'm a safety. Like, I don't know I think it's going to be exciting, but they are keeping that like close to their chest, because they don't want to give it all away. I mean, that's one of the benefits about having a new coaching staff and a new scheme is nobody knows. Nobody knows what you're going to do. They can game plan for what you've done in the past and things that you've run and things you've been a part of. But this is like the coaching staff is such a melting pot of different coaches from different successful organizations. And I think that's just the good, really cool thing. And it's exciting to me.
Exactly. And we want to know your training camp expectations, like preseason expectations, I should say. Like, what are you expecting? Who are you most excited to see? Because I think that's the biggest question. Because I think for me, Bryce definitely, right? I mean, you got to,
That's everybody, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like
you got to be excited.
You have to see if he,
Bryce.
what is this kid? What makes him so good? And can he do it on an NFL level? I mean, that's exciting.
And you took all my points, so I'm gonna have to make something up. But no, you said
I'm sweating over here. You got me on a roll.
You was going.
Where's my training camp fans when I need them? Should have brought it.
You said the DJ Chark connection with Bryce Young. We've seen, in training camp, these guys got some sort of chemistry. They've been playing Madden together or something. Yeah. Something's been going on. They've been eating dinner or something. It's been brewing.
Yeah. It's exciting to see.
I'm excited to see the new weapons, too, because there's so many new pieces. And how will Bryce, who will be his guy? Because I think we always think it will be the tight end, because, that
Hayden
used
Hurst.
to be, that's typically the security blanket.
Yeah, security blanket. Definitely like in the red zone, I think. But yeah, I think the cool thing is there are so many pieces in this offense. And I think that's kind of what they want. They want there to be so many options and to spread the ball around. Obviously, then you're not predictable. But there are a bunch of pieces that, could shine when the season starts that we haven't even seen. There's guys like Terrace Marshall Jr. Like, is this going to be like a huge year for him? But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm very excited for it. I can't wait. And I think that's the perfect place to wrap up. I think we should. I think we should go ahead and wrap it up. It's been a lot of fun, Kelli. I appreciate it.
Got me started. Here we go.
See, now we can't stop you. We might have to go another 30 minutes, okay?
We might.
But I definitely had a lot of fun. I hope you come back. I hope that we have because you got so many stories. You got so many. You keeping them in the secret file we talked about before. And
because I forget about them.
We gonna keep them in the secret file, because in that way, people tuning in gonna be like, okay, when Kelli comes back on, I gotta watch.
See. Now, you know what I'm thinking of right now? Songs. DJ Chark. That one. And hey DJ, that's my DJ.
There's gonna be so many.
So
Go
many.
DJ,
this is what happens. Random things coming at you.
And I promise
I need to stop.
As also a DJ, I get, and not a real DJ, but my name being DJ, I get all those songs too. So DJ Chark, I understand the struggle, okay? I do. But
That's great.
Definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. Kelly, I want to thank you once again for coming by. I'm definitely going to have you back on. It was definitely a lot of fun. This has been the Keep Prowling podcast. One more time. That was far better than the first one. That was far better than the first one.
I'll work on it.
That was far better than the first one, I'll tell you. But the Keep Prowling podcast is on all major podcasting platforms, so make sure you check the Keep Prowling podcast out. We're gonna see you guys on the next episode. I mean, by that time we'll be after some preseason action, and we'll be able to really talk that much more because the season will be this close away. So it's gonna be definitely a lot of fun. But as always, definitely hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the Keep Prowling podcast.